Hello, this is Rebecca Williams. This is my rhetorical analysis for COM405. It is entitled Resolutions for Mental Health. By way of introduction, I would like to ask a question. What if reducing stress and having a more optimistic outlook on life, and even fighting off something like depression, was as simple as going outside and basking in God's creation, looking around at nature, examining a flower, or looking up at the clouds, and admiring humanity, and looking for God in every part of nature? And if the glory of God is revealed, and His character is revealed through His nature, can we worship Him more ardently and love Him more passionately? This rhetorical act takes place in 1980. It's a sermon given by Pastor John Piper at his congregation. His text is Psalm 19, which describes God's creation and the voice of creation calling out. He also uses nature prose that he himself has written and the likes of William Wordsworth has written. Piper ends his sermon with an extensive quote by his professor, Dr. Clyde Kilsby of Wheaton College. These are 11 resolutions for mental health, and they are the focus of this analysis. It is, if you will, an artifact within an artifact. The thesis of these pieces, both together and separately, is that if we lived in rapt attention to creation around us and appreciated and admired God's handiwork more intently, if we understood ourselves more fully and lived in that light, we could live with a renewed mind, a greater sense of joy and delight and purpose. The components of this rhetorical act are the ethos, pathos, and logos. The ethos. For John Piper, he holds 3 degrees. His undergraduate degree is from Wheaton College, and he holds 2 advanced seminary degrees as well. He was a pastor for over 30 years and still very influential as both a speaker and a well-known author in our Christian community. Dr. Clyde Kilby was his professor when he attended Wheaton College. Dr. Clyde Kilby received a PhD from NYU and holds master's degrees and undergraduate degrees. He was a contemporary and friend of C.S. Lewis and had prolific letter-writing communication with him until C.S. Lewis's death. He also was a student of J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis and their friendship, and you can still see his extensive studied work at Wheaton College. Both men were powerful orators, prolific authors, and very well educated. The pathos that is invoked through John Piper's sermon, he describes the awe of nature and the wonder of creation, both through the psalm and his prose. And he explains that the impact on our lives can be great if we believe this visual sense calls us to worship God more fully and delight in His creation. Dr. Clyde Kilby's resolutions are stated with both hopeful and very strong declarative language. He begins each one with, "I shall." That helps us see a very determined way of thinking, to live a fuller and richer life with a great sense of mindfulness, both of ourselves and created works of God. The logos. Piper states, "I believe nature is a prep school of our affections, readying them to delight in God." He espoused that nature's words call out continuously, not in a verbal sense, but a visual sense, and that is available for the entire world to see. In this grand display, he believes that we might understand God's nature, character, and be able to worship Him more fully. Dr. Clyde Kilby says, "Only some aesthetic power, which is akin to God's creativity, has the capability of renewal, giving us the power to see." And by seeing, he means seeing more fully not only our own nature, but God's nature through His creation. And our resolve would be to understand that in light of God and understand ourselves more fully. As a conclusion, I think one of the weaknesses of this rhetorical act in particular is that Piper's rhetoric depends on the assumption that the hearer will agree with what is being said in God's Word as authoritative. While Kilby does not use a specific scriptural text, he does quote several well-known people in his resolutions from a variety of disciplines to really help hone in on his points and solidify his resolutions. He makes a strong correlation between who we are metaphysically and who God is, as seen and appreciated through his created world. Here are my references on this page, and if you'd like to view Clyde Kilby's resolutions, which I think you should, and are very life-changing, you can go to desiringgod.org and search Sky Talk, and they occur at the end of the sermon. Thanks for watching.